Okay, recording attempt 5,246,920. Well, not really, but it's Mr Garbutt and the technology. He goes. Reading is very, very important. I can't really remember the first book I read, but I know my parents both read to me. And the first book I have any real memories of is Orlando the Marmalade Cat. And then going to Grimsby Library with my father, pulling out a Thomas the Tank Engine series book on the Scar Louis engines, the railway based on the Talyllyn. Then reading was school, and that was Janet and John, which were modern books for when I was at school, but were written in the 1950s, early 60s, and you can imagine what they were like, especially with regards to household tasks. I then moved on to Enid Blyton, rapidly went through Noddy, the Secret Faraway Tree, or whatever it was called, Secret 7, Famous 5, and then asked my father what else I could start reading, and he suggested the Biggles books by Captain W.E. Johns, and I read up my way all the way through those. I still do read them, but only the World War One stories, because they don't display any of Captain W.E. Johns' rather more shall we say, outdated prejudices. I then moved on to science fiction, where I still am, and then things like Lord of the Rings, The Wheel of Time. Never got into Harry Potter, couldn't get beyond the first page, which is amazing considering some of the absolutely awful 1950s American and British science fiction that I used to read. Then, apart from that, detective stories, especially Sherlock Holmes, Solar Pons, who is a sort of pastiche of Sherlock Holmes, and Inspector Morse. I think you can probably see a trend going here. Other than that, I will read virtually anything except what are considered to be classical literary novels. And I have to admit that was because they were rammed down my throat at school, and it put me off them for life. And this is despite me knowing that some of them are absolutely brilliant novels. I can cope with Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. I've read sketches by Bowles and the Pickwick Papers by Charles Dickens, but you approach anything by Thackeray or Austen or the Brontes anywhere near me, and I'll run a million miles very fast, breaking Usain Bolt speed records, which is rather sad in a way, because they are actually worth reading. I just have a prejudices built in. Nowadays, I don't actually have many physical books apart from, well, I'm not going to show you the pictures, but I've got loads of Dan Dares and Dragon Empires and railway books and aeroplane books and so on. Most of my books nowadays are saved on this. Yeah, you can tell from the spine of the protected cover that my wife bought me, I use this a fair amount. I read every day. It's very, very rarely a day goes by without me having read something. And it's just important. Your imagination has got to be fed. It's got to be stoked. Your imagination produces far better pictures than any cinema does. For example, I know it's quite trite, but my orcs are far scarier than Peter Jackson's. Anyway, that's it. Keep reading, start reading, keep reading. Thank you.